Welcome to One Stage at a Time, the podcast where we're playing through video games one stage at a time, not skipping a single level. Today, we're not talking about a video game, though. We are talking about a terrible movie. We're talking about Doom Annihilation, 2019's Doom, that was released straight to Netflix, I believe. Possibly got a DVD Blu-ray release, was not put into theater.
Yeah, it was not a theatrical film.
It was not pre-COVID, not theatrically released. I am Aaron Neeson. I'm joined by Andy Prim. Hello, Andy.
I wish you hadn't made me do this.
Your name's on this forever. It's going to be great. And we're joined by Sam Ingersoll. Hello, Sam.
Hi, this movie was somehow worse than American McGee's levels on Doom.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Ooh, stunning condemnation. And we are joined by Mike Votaw. Hello, Mike. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You were here for our last Doom movie review.
Yeah, that's true. This was better than that, the 2001 movie, in my opinion. But
I completely disagree.
Interesting take.
I mean,
you're out of your mind.
It's like a low bar, but I don't know. We'll get to it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
We're gonna get into it. Yeah, I was not expecting anybody to say that.
I don't know. Okay, let me just be the middleman here. Not better than Doom, but also Doom is also a bad movie.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Like I missed out watching with you guys, and I haven't seen it since I saw it when it came out, the original one.
Oh wow! Yeah.
It's one of those few times where I didn't not like the movie, but I left the movie angry, which has only happened a handful of times. I believe that 2 times. Doom and Batman v Superman were the only. No, Godzilla, the new Godzilla movie, with that movie
with Bryan Cranston.
Well,
sort of with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, like the should have been Bryan Cranston, but maybe he left for something else, and they had to panic write the rest of the movie with a different character that made no sense.
Like they made it look like he was the star in the trailers, and then they kill him in like the first 15 minutes.
The first half hour of that movie sets him up as the main character. They kill him, and it's like, oh fuck! Now what do we do? Well, we'll just put his son in and have these big moments that make sense for his character, but not the son's character. Anyway, we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about this flaming piece of shit
we
called
shift
Doom
gears,
Annihilation.
talk about Godzilla 2014.
I only wish we had 15 minutes of Bryan Cranston in this movie.
If anybody of any acting skill whatsoever.
Dude, I wish there were actors in this movie instead of just like whoever these
random people from New Zealand that can't really speak English or do an English accent, American accent.
If there was one character, who was the best actor in this movie?
Well, Dominic Matham is clearly like the guy that played Dr. Betrager. He's clearly the only guy who's like a real actor.
I was going to say
it happens every once in a while. And usually when they're a bad guy, they realize, oh, fuck, I know what I've gotten myself into. So I'm going to consume every inch of the scenes that I'm in.
Yeah.
And so like, even though everyone was like, I've got like the fucking Hubble telescope and I can see the plot lines from a mile away. So far that I can see that they're not even going to land half of them. I just forget about plot lines.
Dude, yeah, he's just like, I'm having fun. I'm going to eat all the scenery.
He at least, yeah.
And he's like, I looked at some of his recent credits, just tons of these like direct to DVD box style of movies.
He's working, man. He's working.
But, like he was in like the Royal Shakespeare Company and had a part in The English Patient. So like he's like a real actor. Like he actually like went to acting school.
Yeah, I was
possibly some of these people.
Yeah, that's why I decided to ask, because I was like, there was one good guy. There was one good.
Here's the difference.
He was good.
He went to acting school. These people were still going to acting school.
I don't know, but I don't even know about that, man. But yeah.
I mean, I don't even have a problem with most of the people and like the way they delivered their lines and everything. This lands 100% on the writing and directing and producing.
Yes,
which I believe was the writer and director was the same guy, I think.
Yeah. I was looking up his IMDb. This only barely outscored his first movie, Soccer Dog, which had a 3 on IMDb, whereas this had a 3.6. He had one, I don't remember what it was called. It was something about sex, I think. And it was like a 7 because I think it had sex in it.
this guy's name is Tony Giglio, or possibly it could be pronounced some other way. But yeah, he's written some movies. He's produced some movies. He appears on screen in a 1993 episode of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Are you on his IMDb right now, Andy?
I'm on the Wikipedia.
Okay, because it's I'm gonna read a line from his IMDb, but keep going.
He has directed several movies, including one called In Enemy Hands in 2004, featuring William H. Macy. And he also directed Jason Statham, Ryan Phillippe, and Wesley Snipes in a movie called Chaos from 2005. But that's about it for him. Everything else is just like random bullshit that no one's ever heard of.
I want to read you the first thing you read on his IMDb and see if you guys agree. Tony Giglio worked his way up from a production assistant to become one of Hollywood's most versatile writer-directors.
He edited that page himself.
I was going to say, this is one of those paid for IMDb pages. his manager's on there every day.
Yeah. He was the second unit director of photography on Resident Evil Afterlife.
Ooh, second UD.
I read an interview with him because I was just so curious about this movie. I finished watching it and I was like, this movie exists. How did that come to be? Like, what chain of events happened that allowed this movie to exist? Because this movie's just such a it's such a perplexing thing. Like, it's clearly like made by somebody who likes the games, but also like they didn't have the budget to do what they really wanted to, and that's kind of exactly.
Are you sure they liked the games? They didn't just have a list of things that they got gopher wrote down like key cards. John Carmack.
Well,
what's the fucking
Ultra Nightmare, BFG, all that. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like I read the interview, and apparently, like an executive at Paramount, I think it was, whoever produced Universal, that was it, sat down with him and like basically asked him what he wanted to make. What movie do you want to make? And his answer, again, this is all according to him in the press leading up to this movie, so who knows how much of his bullshit.
I got a call from the president of Universal, and he asked me, Tony, what do you want to make more than anything? And I told him, Doom.
Little did he know that was the janitor.
Well, he said Doom, and they were like, no, we don't want to make Doom. And he was like, oh shit.
Rightly so.
Yeah. So like, but then like the game came out and it was well received.
Yeah. And
so they came back to him and they asked for a treatment. So he wrote a treatment. Then they were like, okay, we like this. And they gave him a little bit of money, not nearly enough money that they needed to. And he's like, so we could make 4 imp suits, and we can only do this and this. We could have this many effects shots and all that. Yeah. And I was like, man, like they just went the wrong way with this budget. Cause like I was watching it, and I'm like, they with a budget like this, the only thing you can do effectively with a budget like this is either like an interpersonal drama, which Doom could never be, or a horror movie. And
and that's
they could have made a horror movie. Like if they tried to make Alien, but with an imp running around. Dude, and like,
okay, that's like, one of my points.
Yeah.
This movie really wanted to be Aliens so bad that there is a line where a guy says, you know what this is? It's Aliens. Now, I know it has nothing to do with that. Fucking guy literally says that in the movie.
No, you're totally right, dude.
Because I was thinking that in the opening scene, like they're shoehorning in like this, like, all right, like, so they could have, what they should have done is just gotten to save money. Like they even hired a guy like the sergeant, like the red herring bullshit. I'm an artist, so I'm going to make my movie like this. So we're going to put the guy who's the Doom guy in and then fucking kill him. Spoiler alert. Well, you see, the guy they cast looks like the fucking Doom guy in the picture.
Are you talking about like the
captain?
The captain.
Yeah,
you have the shotgun who has a shotgun for no fucking reason. He's in there. The first imp kills everybody but him, and it's just him killing demons to like stop the base from like opening up the portal to let all of hell in, right? Then it's one guy and the rest of no CG, it's all imp suits and like they spend all the money on that. No, he's got to be like a cool artiste, and I'm gonna have a badass strong woman like Aliens. and like she's going to be a lesbian for no reason because that's just a picture, and that makes her cooler and like more badass.
Oh, is that what the story with that picture was?
Yeah, it was just like her family.
I'll be honest, I was barely paying attention. I was like, oh, it's a picture of family, whatever. Fine.
And it's like it's just all these things, and it's not even that that's a problem, but it's like he's using it for like he's got this image in his head of like what the new stereotype badass woman with like who bucks the authority. Like I'm gonna make her like this guy, but like so lazy and stupid, and like adding her. There's so many things that are just dumb and like lazy with this movie.
You hit part of it. Part of one thing that really stuck out to me was how shitty the world building and backstory is for
surface
the
level.
Character.
Everything is just surface level.
Like we didn't know anything about her. And then we learned a little bit about her, but then it was just confusing. Like later on, we learn, like, so when she first shows up, first shot in her underwear, she's Sigourney Weaver illusions there again. But then, like, she shows up to the mess hall where everybody's sitting around eating. And we're not going to go point by point through this movie like we did last time.
It's too stupid.
It's too stupid. We don't need to do that.
You don't even need to watch them. Please don't watch this movie. Just don't watch it.
Just don't do it.
No, watch it so that you can enjoy this podcast if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. But we'll see. It might make this a worse podcast if you do that.
She comes into the mess hall. Everybody's sitting there eating. And everybody like shuts up. Everybody's obviously giving her the cold shoulder, and you're like, oh, why do they hate her so much? What's going on? Why is she the outcast here? And she sits down and everybody leaves. And then immediately she starts chatting with this guy who we find out right away is her ex. And she says, yeah, well, we dated like for a couple weeks years ago. And he's like, it was 4 months. And I was just like,
and who knew that?
I get why they all left. She's a fucking asshole. Fuck you, lady.
Well, and she's like, oh, you got into science. You're a scientist now. And he's like, I've always been a scientist. And she's like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
But then later in the movie, she contradicts herself. She's like, I never forgot anything. It's like, well, then why were you just...
See, that was foreshadowing, guys, of layers of how the writer couldn't remember to anything that happened 2 pages before and whatever scene he was writing.
Layers and layers of assholishness of her. and then the continuing finding out a backstory later on, we find out that so Doom Guy's backstory is that he disobeyed an order and wouldn't fire upon civilians, and that's why he got the shit position. Yeah. Her backstory is she let a terrorist go.
Yeah.
And it's never explained why.
Got some terrorist, never explained who, never explained why she did this. And that's really it. We find out that she let a terrorist go. Everybody in her squad recommended that she be like in jail, court-martialed, fucking
court-martialed
killed,
for treason,
stripped, like dishonorably discharged. And we find this.
We're getting so
like, what the fuck is going on here? And then we get to the part where she's talking with her ex about like the dates that they went on. She's like, I remember everything, and and they're all chuckling. And then he gets grabbed in the elevator and pulled in, and like the doors slam. And I'm like, man, she is fucking incompetent. They were all right. Everything we learn about Joan Dark, which we'll get to that name in a minute here.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I've got some opinions about that.
Yeah, everything like you just hate her. She's awful. She's the worst. She's
totally unlikable.
Totally unlikable.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was so pissed because like I saw it coming a mile away, right? Like they're I can see the movie that this guy was trying to make, and he did not make that movie.
No, he didn't have the budget for it. Like Aaron said, if they'd done a smaller thing, like a closed room, like horror movie. But they tried to do like a doomy doom kind of movie, and they just did not have the budget or the talent for that.
Even if he scaled down the effects, the kind of movie he was trying to make did not happen. Like he wanted to do this, like here like a twist, like with Samuel L. Jackson,
Oh, Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah, like he was trying. It's like here's the guy who looks like the Doom guy, and he's got the shotgun, and he's leading his soldiers. But we've got this Ripley. Ooh, I guess I'm a hard ass, and I'm so badass and manly. Fuck authority. I'm a woman, but I'm the dude in my relationship, and like fuck everybody. I'm a lesbian, but I dated this guy. Like, what's going on with everything in this movie? I've got a cross. It doesn't fucking matter. My mom died of cancer or something. and like, and then he just fucking doesn't know. Was like, he's like, he learned how to spin the plate, but he doesn't know how to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and then the other problem is that this was shot in Bulgaria, and the entire cast was Bulgarian, and all the extras were Bulgarian.
Because I could not place the accents that were lingering underneath all of the American accents.
Yeah. Dude, it felt
like the commander. All of his his A's and O's were not American accents.
Well, let's talk about Amy Manson, who portrayed Joan Dark in this film.
That had to be intentional, right? Joan Dark. It had to be.
Say more about that.
Joan Dark.
Joan of Arc.
No,
yeah.
That's. Oh, is that? Did you guys think that's what it was?
I didn't fucking think about anything about this movie.
I'm a fan of the Perfect Dark series. Do you guys remember the protagonist's name in Perfect Dark?
Yeah, her name's Joanna Dark, which is
Joanna Dark.
But I was like, Aaron's like, he's trying to trick me or something. So I
no.
That's exactly it. Before I say what I want to say.
I was like, no, there's no way that this is an accident, Joan Dark, because it's one letter off Joanna Dark, but I couldn't figure out exactly what. But of course, probably Joan of Arc is probably what he was going.
I mean,
they're both stupid. If it's either one, and that's why he did it, or dumb reason.
Guys, it's coming back to me. It's absolutely why he did it. He mentioned it. He mentioned Joan of Arc in the interview. He did. He did. And now I'm pissed at myself for not connecting those dots.
It's Joan D''Arc.
It's like Jean d'Arc.
Jean d'Arc. Yeah. So like that's
So Amy Manson is apparently a Scottish actress, which I wouldn't have known because she sounds French in this movie. Like whatever weird accent she's doing, it's really weird and strange.
See, I thought they were secret, like they were all like half of them were from New Zealand or something. Was what I thought.
I couldn't place any accent on her. She just mumbled her way through the entire movie. I couldn't understand. She's
definitely got some kind of accent going on, but she is apparently Scottish. She's done a lot of TV. Like she was on Once Upon a Time, Atlantis, Outcasts, Being Human, Torchwood, lots of stuff, mostly in like recurring roles. She's got a few TV or movie credits here, including in Trainspotting 2, Woman in Club. Who could forget that part?
A classic role.
That's Amy Manson. She's known in particular, although apparently she's done like a lot of theater work and stuff, and I don't know, a lot of BBC TV shows. So I don't know. I guess she's like an okay actress. Yeah. She's definitely not the worst part of this movie, but she's not particularly good either.
The worst part of this movie was when that lady was speaking French for no reason in the first scene.
Oh my God.
Can we talk? Let's real quick, just do a quick rundown of the basic plot. We don't need to do like the whole movie, but like just so people know what happened. So
yes, let's do it. Take it away.
It's moon base on Phobos, demon gate on Earth and on Phobos.
Right.
Turning it on, guy goes through, has demon claws, hard cut. They mention that one more time. Never go back to that.
Yeah.
UAC military guys are going to the moon base for plot reasons to be security. Main characters are there. We talked about why.
Well, we meet the villain, Dr. Betruger, portrayed by Dominic Moffam, who's like kind of charismatic and really focused on doing this experiment. No backstory whatsoever for this guy. We just know that he's really into this experiment and is willing to like.
We get a little bit of backstory, but barely. But
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention for half this movie, so I could have just
there were scenes that
way later, but yeah.
That's true. When
anyway,
he's doing his evil guy monologue, doesn't it kind of?
That's right. Yeah.
But he's like, we got to open this gate again because science is too important, and we're not going to tell the powers that be about it. But he volunteers to go through personally. So and then after that, then all shit starts breaking loose.
Yeah, he was even like, I'm not gonna call off all this science we've done because one guy came through with long fingernails.
Right. That was the second time they mentioned.
Well, they were like, he's all fucked up and acting like a zombie, and he's like, oh well, that's because he's on antidepressants.
Of course.
So the military guys get there. Oh, the base power, backup power is at 2% for some reason that they never really go back to. It's bad. It should be. It takes 72 hours to get this far down. It's been 1 hour.
You're totally glossing over the long scene of them discussing the dangers of nuclear power.
Oh yeah,
and it's like what do you guys fucking think they're using on this moon?
Fucking spaceship. How did you get there?
Spaceship got here. It's like
there's a lot of things. This movie has some issues with when is it set, because it's like, I guess there are Kohl's in the future because the science guy looks like he got his outfit from Kohl's. Well, everyone else has like super like spacey outfits, and he's just got like a button-down polo and khakis.
I swear, I kept expecting him to have a bow tie on every time he came on. I was like, "Oh, I just tied." Oh no, never mind. But
he looks like he walked off the set of like a more like one of the last Law and Orders they did, when he's got his vest on. And everything. It's really out of place.
Yeah. Sam, are you saying that you like the costumes in this movie besides his? Because you're like hyper futuristic. I'm like, they look like garbage.
You missed the air quotes when I did that.
Oh, okay.
Like, the fact that they made an effort to make everything look futuristic, but the dude with them, who he was the only scientist without a lab coat, was just wearing some fucking clothes that he probably wore when he drove to set.
Yeah.
Like they forgot to go get wardrobe, and they just said, well, we already shot an hour and no one realized, so you're fucking wearing that for the rest of the movie.
So that guy, Luke Allen Gale, who plays dorky doctor guy, is a British actor who's been on a bunch of TV, including Dominion and some other stuff too. The Borgias he was on, Midsummer Murders. So he's been on a few things. He's also done a bunch of video game voice actor work, like in like one of the Forza games and Final Fantasy 14 and some other stuff.
He's oh, sorry, go ahead.
And he also appears on screen in Captain America: The First Avenger, where he's credited as Army Heckler.
His character only exists to explain the plot to the audience.
Yeah.
Like that's literally all he's there for. I don't even remember why he was going to Phobos in the first place.
Science to science things.
I was really into it, and I've studied everything about this base.
He was there to point out the secondary entrance to the guy whose one job is to fly from Earth to this moon to deliver people and shit. Like how was he the only person who knew that there was a second fucking entrance? That's about well, I don't know. There were a lot of times when I was like, "Oh wait, this movie's not good." But that was
like the pilot. Yeah, the pilot. Yeah. Like the pilot was cracking me up because he's clearly supposed to be like the laid back, jaunty, slightly Han Solo-y, who gives a shit, hard drinking space pilot. But he just stands there and goes, ha ha ha, line.
He's who they got because they couldn't afford Danny McBride. They desperately wanted Danny McBride, but they couldn't.
An alien movie. And you know what? All right, here's the number one
Alien
thing.
Covenant. Danny McBride had
the number one thing about all the scenes with that guy that bothered me so much was how high up the fucking headrest was on his seat. That was like no head could ever fit in the headrest. Like the back of the chair. So here's his head. There's his head, and behind his head is so if you look at a chair, right, with the headrest in your car, right? So like where the headrest is, like the back of the chair where it stops, that's what was above his head. Then there's a part that kind of goes at an angle with like a symbol, and then the headrest, and that goes up as well. And above that is the headrest, back 2 inches, and it's padded, like leather padded. Like it's meant to be a headrest. And it's just like, what the every time I saw it, I was just like, oh my fucking God, what is going on?
I'll be honest.
Of all the things, man, that's great. Well, you're like, this is unrealistic.
Or just like, it's just the easiest thing to just fucking not fuck up. Just give him a chair without a back or something, and I don't have to notice it. But it's like, it's elaborately made. Yeah.
Somebody decided that this chair should look like this. Yeah.
No, they found it, guys. They found it in the alleyway behind the studio.
No, surprisingly, that's the one thing that just boggles my mind is like, other than like some of the weapons that were like clearly just Nerf guns spray painted silver, they did a really good job with like what they had for the set. I think there's probably a lot of green screen, but like
I don't know if I agree with that though.
For this kind of movie, for this kind of movie, this the shit straight to video
a few of the
movie.
I would say a few of the sets are okay, and some are more lazy. Like the ones on the ship, like the flight deck and the room where they're all like meeting and like having their breakfast or whatever. Those were okay, and like the laboratory looks okay. But once they get inside the base, they're in this industrial room with like pipes and shit for like 45 minutes. They're just running around this same set.
Do you guys remember the live action Mortal Kombat TV show when we were kids?
No, I didn't.
Well, you've seen some of the sets because that's exactly what they looked like. It was like random stuff, like either like the like I love how when they fight all the zombies, it's just like the backyard of a horror movie, like a haunted house set with like dirt and like leaves and everything. It's like and then like the final scene in the core, like why does the core have a dirt floor? My only thought was that it was like on the moon itself, so like they put a dome over it and it was supposed to be but yeah, there were like a couple places with dirt floors for no reason. It's just like
an exposed plasma reactor with like no shielding around it at all.
But like the hallways and stuff, they, while uninspiring, weren't like poorly made. I would say
it was
like
competent, not
so like but so like the fact that someone built this fucking chair and it makes no fucking sense for a human body to use, and no one called them out on it or decided to check beforehand, or maybe they just let the dude make it and they got and they were like, fuck.
I'll tell you what happened was like some like insane drunken Bulgarian prop master like showed up like having fabricated that chair, and they were like, this really isn't right. And he was like, "It's perfect chair. You use in movie." And they were just too intimidated to
break your legs.
That. No, I was like, no, guys, somebody made the chair and they said, "Oh, that looks like shit." And I said, "Oh, well, nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to be that anal about it."
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine.
And here we are, 15 minutes on that fucking headrest.
It really bothers me.
I can tell. Astounding.
So let's talk about like the actual like narrative of this movie. Like they're going into this base to like their goal is to restart the reactor, because if they don't, the whole base is gonna go nuclear. And so they got to restart it, and then I guess they're trying to figure out what happened and like rescue anyone that's still alive. But they just keep getting sidetracked, and they end up like just fighting imps for like an hour, and then after that they finally like most of them die, and then they find like some alive people. There's like one lady scientist, and then the chaplain of the base who joined the party at that point. But like the captain gets killed. He like goes down fighting like 100 imps. He has the super shotgun, and they show him like cocking it before they go out. Like, oh, this is going to be a cool thing in the movie. Just wait till he uses that later. He fires it twice. That's it. Never uses it again, and then he just gets overwhelmed and killed. And I was like, well, maybe Joan's gonna pick it up later and use it. Nope, it's just gone out of the movie. Forget about it.
I mean, that's how that it would only it would only hold 2 shells probably anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
you can't reload those things. You can't reload those things. You use the 2 shells and you throw the gun at the enemy, and then you're done.
Reload their automatic weapons. Like the amount of time it took them to be like, "Oh man, oh no, I'm out of bullets," and
they were just always running out of bullets.
Yeah, it was just.
Well, so unrelated to anything you guys just said, I was trying to share the picture.
Found out who made the chair.
No, I was trying to show a picture of the chair, but the way things work nowadays. Your browser and Netflix are smart enough to block out. You can't share your screen on Netflix, and I can't even snip to like the picture. It just goes black.
Oh, here I can show you guys. I got.
But if you have the movie up, you can go to 1 hour 17 minutes and 49 seconds. There's if people who are listening on Netflix, 1 hour 17 minutes 49 seconds, a clear picture of lots of time put into a set. That makes no sense. Maybe this guy is like 4 feet tall. Maybe that's the problem. But anyway, you would have to lean more than 90 degrees backwards to get your head to rest into it.
Stop it. No more about this fucking chair.
This movie is giving Sam psychosis.
God damn it.
It's just a chair, Sam. Calm down.
All right. Yeah. So let's continue talking about the narrative and how they could have done better. Like we said earlier, like this could have been a good, like they had the opportunity to make a good horror film. And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted it. Like one imp that's terrorizing this team. Like if they had gone that route, I think it could have been cool. Like I was thinking, like I kept on imagining like these guys coming across scenes. Did you guys see the movie Annihilation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
with Natalie Portman.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah, really good movie. A bunch of soldiers in this unknown environment, and they're being like psychologically tormented by this thing that they don't understand. And like they come across, there's this one scene where they come across this human body that's been like morphed and like just like taken apart and crawled up a wall and shit. And it's just like horrifying, but also beautiful and shit. And like, I'm like, if this movie had an imp who was taking people and just like destroying them and displaying them in horrific manners so that these soldiers come across it and like they're just all fucked in the head because like this imp is doing this terrible shit, like putting people on spikes and taking apart their organs and stuff. Like I was like, that could have been a really cool movie, and they could have afforded that probably, but I don't know.
The single effect that you're describing from Annihilation probably cost
millions of dollars.
But they didn't have to do that. They could have just done gore. They could have just done gore on the walls, like spirals, like shit like that.
Well, they did have the Sumerian writing.
Right. Yeah. Oh God.
Not actually Sumerian, slightly different Sumerian writing.
They set up that whole thing with that guy who studied all those languages so that he could say it's Sumerian, and then he'd be like, but I don't understand it. And they're like, hey, computer, translate this. Like, what the fuck was the point of him being there and knowing all those languages?
At that point, the computer had been taken over by Satan. I don't know. They don't really explain that.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But back to your point about what this movie could have been, I would have gone even simpler and made it like a horror version of the movie Dread, where it's just one guy. He goes like make it Doom. Like, don't be afraid. He goes in, his team dies. He's fighting zombies. Like maybe there's the zombies and like there's an imp, like one imp, right? And he's turning he's like, you can see him like making the zombies or something, because they never really explain how that gets done in the game. And like he finally takes the imp down, but then he finds like a Baron of Hell that's making imps. And he has to fight the big, BFG with the Baron of Hell or something. And right before,
that's too much money. Too much money. Right there.
I mean, you could done that. I mean, if they had not done all that CG at the end, all the CG scenes with the mom and that stuff at the end could have saved them a lot of money. They could have made, they already made force suits and all those zombies. They just used that money to make a Baron of Hell and fire all the other people, like get cut down on the cast.
Same with the 20-minute movie of Baron.
No. It could have been a horror movie still, like a horror survival thing, kind of like The Descent. Where it's like this guy's trying to survive through it, and he's like slowly becoming the Doom guy through this process. He's got to like kill like his own teammates or the zombies. So there's the psychological aspect and everything. But we could talk for a million years of how to make this a better movie, because there's an infinite possible ways to do that, because it's so poorly made a movie.
So, have we done enough time yet on the chair, or do we need to discuss the headrest anymore?
Let's move on. I don't want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, let's stop. I did want to. Somebody, I can't remember. I think it was Sam, mentioned like turning people into zombies and how we never see that in Doom, like, or anything.
Well, there's former humans in Doom, like the guys and the zombie troopers. We don't know how they got that way, but presumably they got hell possessed.
And we see that start to happen in this game, right?
Yes.
Or in this movie we sort of see that starting to happen.
Yeah.
The imp does some sort of like face Dementor soul kiss thing.
God, yeah. Eat your soul.
I'll swallow your soul.
Yeah.
Because fuck, what else can we do with this? How do
Well, I was like watching this movie, and Joan starts to get that done to her. And then it's like she gets all these flashes of hell and all this stuff, and like that's happening, and it gets interrupted. And I was like, oh, maybe now she has some sort of weird hell superpower or something, and she's gonna start kicking ass, and this will be like a Doom sort of feel all of a sudden, but fucking of course not. It was nothing. It was nothing. It was nothing. that amounted to nothing. We saw glimpses of hell that we then saw later on, which would have been a maybe could have been a cool reveal if we hadn't seen it already, but which it wouldn't have been because it was also kind of lame. But
instead, she gets saved by the chaplain, who was also already grievously injured. And the two of them have like a couple little moments because like he doesn't show up till halfway through the movie, but then like there's a moment where he's hurt and he like has to stop and rest, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he sees her cross. And they have like a little scene where he's like, you know, I don't know. I wasn't listening to what he said, but
my
it's like
favorite part. Oh, sorry.
About God or something, you know. But like that guy who plays the chaplain, his name is Louis Mandylor, and he's an Australian actor who has a lot of credits, lots and lots of TV stuff. But I actually thought he was okay. Like, you know, the
another guy that looks
given,
like the Doom guy, like and had a reason, who could have been the Doom guy. His character could have been. My favorite part for him is that like his costume to have the fucking chaplain like neck is just like his undershirt, and they just kind of pull it up a little bit from underneath his collar.
Yeah, I didn't clock that he was a chaplain until somebody was like, "You're a chaplain." And I was like, "He is?"
Oh my God, yeah, it's like they just kind of pull his shirt up a little bit. And like I was like, "Oh my fucking God!"
Right, they spent all the money on those suits.
No, it's like
so they couldn't afford.
They're like, "Oh fuck, we forgot." Oh no, we do have a neck thing. Well, how are we gonna know? No, just he's got to wait. He's got an undershirt on. Just pull the undershirt up, the collar up. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll look great on film. It'll look great on film.
Don't notice. Yeah, they're like, this is going direct to TV. No one's gonna watch it anyway.
Pretty much.
The M suits. Sorry, we can come back for a second. I just gotta say, the M suits I kind of liked. The practical M suits.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Really?
No, here's the thing.
They look like fucking crap. If
they looked okay until they did stuff.
Yeah.
They suffered from the same problem that, in my opinion, the end of the movie Signs suffered from, which was they showed us the alien. Like, if they had done a better job of like actually, you know, like in Alien, or, you know, of just showing us just enough to let our imagination fill in the blanks, it would have worked a lot better. But it was just like they would just stand there in like flat light, and you could see.
I was going to say,
clearly a guy in a suit.
You just pointed out this movie's biggest flaw is the fact that it's like they just turn the fucking lights on in the studio, and it's like super bright. Everything is super flat lighting.
Yeah.
Like if they had just like got two lights and turned off the fucking ceiling lights, like when they're fighting the zombies, like that would have been way more interesting. And also, fuck, I feel like I like hurt myself rolling my eyes so hard when the imp used its fireball.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He did a Hadouken.
I know.
Like, and it's like not even like burning their clothes when it's
right.
Like
he doesn't.
That could have been it could have been forgiven. Terrible effects are terrible effects. It could have been forgiven if like it hit the guy and like half his face was just charred,
right?
Melted or something.
Or they just melt. That would.
Or he
just
catches on fire and he just sits there like, like anything except for fucking except for Saturday morning, you know,
Power Rangers.
It's like it's a concussive blast.
Yeah,
which is just so weird because
that sucked. I thought.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I thought the imps really sucked because for one thing, they don't look like imps.
No, they don't.
Like and I didn't know they were an imp till he shoots a fireball, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's supposed to be an imp. Because like the imps in the game are just kind of brown. They don't have all like that weird discoloration shit going on, and their mouths certainly aren't that big. They just, you know, they're called imps because they're just like little guys that like aren't that imposing.
And that's
the
weird
just
part.
kind of like the cannon fodder of the Hell Army. Like
in Aaron's background at the very end in Hell, like the CG imps look closer to like what you would think an imp would look like if they made it in like a modern movie. They don't look. They're two different things. They don't look like the other imps that are there. So I don't know.
Well, those were apparently done at different times. So like at the end of the movie, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but everyone else but Joan gets killed, and she and Dr. Betruger make it to the secret lab. using the secret yellow key card that scientist nerd had the whole time and just forgot to tell them about.
Fucking key cards.
I do like the key card props look kind of good. I kind of like that.
Yeah. That's
but
the way they're using
the movie sucks.
I wanted to just mention that there are points in the movie that are done well. Like a couple of the gore scenes where the guts, like the guy gets pulled up and his guts fall down. Like that looked really good. And like the scene where they come in and all the scientists are like mangled and hanging from the ceilings and stuff. For this kind of budget movie, that looked excellent. But it's just like, and then all of a sudden you turn the corner, it's like, what the fuck happened? Like, was this like two different movies? Like, did this like not get finished and then someone just made some shit to finish the movie? It feels like that.
It's really uneven. And like you can do stuff on a shoestring budget. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Battle Beyond the Stars, the Roger Corman space epic that was like his answer to Star Wars. It's like a totally bargain basement Star Wars ripoff. But what the fuck
it's isn't it Magnificent Seven in space?
It's Magnificent Seven in space, and James Cameron, a young James Cameron, did the special effects for that movie. He was just there as like a production assistant, and the other guy like left, and they were like, "Can you do this, James?" And he was like, "Sure, I can do it." And so like young plucky James Cameron, he used like fast food boxes and shit and like spray painted them to like create all these really incredible sets for this movie. It looks great. I mean, and they did it on like a shoestring budget. So it just goes to show you that they should have had Roger Corman make this movie, and it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, give me Roger Corman.
He's still alive, 90 or something.
It's just, I can tell that this guy had these great ideas for this movie, but had no way to implement them in a way that made a good movie. A lot of people have that issue, like filmmakers do, where they want to be the next Alien movie, but they don't know fucking how that gets done. They don't have the skill to do that, because there would be a billion Alien movies that are as equally good as Alien if it was easy. He does. I can guarantee that guy doesn't really maybe understand that he didn't make it.
Tony Giglio thinks he made the best movie of all time.
That was a made-up name. I thought it was like a fake director name. No, I read it as Gigolo first.
Tony Gigolo.
Okay, here we go. Fucking Tony Gigolo movie. Let's do it.
He's got to know. He's got to know that this is not, that he missed the mark, and this isn't the movie that he wanted to make, and this isn't the movie the fans wanted made. Like, he has to know that. Like, he's got.
Oh yeah, he does. I mean, he's delivering a product. You know, Universal Home Features wanted a movie made for like $1 million, and he was like, "All right, I'll do it. Let's get it done. We'll shoot it in 6 weeks in Bulgaria and just knock it out." And that's what he did.
Yeah, he put on his soccer dog T-shirt and went to work. But
right.
So yeah.
So to get to the end of the plot, everyone gets killed. Scientist Nerd and Joan are the last ones left, and they're chasing Dr. Petruger. After they finally get the reactor back online, he fucks off. Everyone else gets killed by imps. The two of them chase him down to the secret lab, and Scientist Nerd gets possessed and turned, and Joan has a moment where she's like trying to be like, "It's okay, come to your senses." And it's like, he's not okay. And so she has to put like 2 in his skull, and then Dr. Petruger's like going to turn on the doom teleporter and like reopen the gateway to hell. And then Joan has to like fight another imp or 2, and she just blows Petruger away.
Here's where I'll give them a smidge of credit. I was half expecting the scientist guy to be like, to hesitate and like have a glimmer and be like, "Joe," or something, and then but they didn't do that, and I kind of appreciated that, because that would have been pretty cliche. But anyways, that's just what it inject.
And I also just like that you just blammo, like Petruger's like acting all menacing, and she's just like pop pop.
Yeah.
Which is 100% what you need to do when you're in that situation with a villain who's monologuing. You just fucking shoot him. So many movies would be 45 minutes shorter if people would just do that. I wish they had done that with this movie, but
I just shot done that with him right when 5 minutes in, blam.
Yeah, when he showed up and was obviously evil and lying all over the place.
I was wondering about that, because he says he doesn't remember, and I feel like the actor was maybe putting more nuance into it than was in the script. But I was wondering, like, did he really forget, and then he gets his memory back more later?
No, I think he was totally lying when he said that, because he remembers everything. He had a Star Child, 2001: A Space Odyssey meets Rob Zombie moment. And
my God, it's full of corpses.
Like he remembers everything. And he is 100% on, like, he has totally bought into the fact that whoever the hell made these portals is the rightful owners of Earth. And he's like, fuck yeah, man, let's do it.
I got it as he went in and was like, we're going to kill you. Do what because he says, he has lines like, you have your orders, I have mine. So like, I feel like he's like,
yeah,
okay, holy shit, I'm scared shitless. Yeah, I would like to be alive and like bidding the order, whatever the fuck that thing was with no legs.
But he's
I think that
yes.
I think he bought into it because he was like gleeful about it. He was like, when he stabbed that woman, he's like, and I remember everything, and you'll never be able to tell them, stab, and then run away. See, giggling behind the door, like, hi, Joan.
I thought it kind of felt to me like he was possessed too, in a way, but then he said he had his orders, so I don't know. Well, I think the script didn't really know which way it wanted to go with it.
When he unbuttoned his shirt for Joan, I was half expecting there to be a tattoo of the red dragon there, and he's like, you are witness to a great becoming.
Or one of those little guys from
Total Recall.
Total Recall, yeah.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned Red Dragons. I think being tied to a wheelchair and set on fire probably would have been more fun in this movie. There's so many things about the
Lieutenant Dark in human form. Lieutenant Dark changing.
Do you see?
The keys. There's so like the hell scene. I mean, it wasn't very interesting.
All right,
she goes to hell. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to jump off you talking about the keys, shifting to the keys.
Oh, fuck, man.
There were so many little Easter eggs, and even though they were cheesy, like every time there was one, I was like, I was Leonardo DiCaprio. I was like, like the explosive barrels, the chainsaw, the "I'm too young to die" line, and the Ultra Nightmare line, and then also Billy Blazkowicz, Blazkowicz being in there, and then
the health station.
I might have skipped
John Carmack. They shot him in the head, and then they brought him back and shot him again. Yep. And I really appreciated that because John Carmack, as we all know, is a terrible person.
It deserves to be shot twice in the head.
We don't advocate that on this podcast, but it was
no.
It was gratifying to see.
We're not saying you should do that. We're just saying he deserves it.
He should be shot in the head. Not
parody,
metaphorically
in the game. Parody
in a terrible movie. But all the little Easter eggs. I was like, like Daisy being the computer. Like,
see, for me, that just felt like really lazy. Like,
that one was kind of.
They had a list of like proper nouns from the Doom franchise, and they were like, "Oh, let's stick this here and this here," and it's like it's not organic. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, again,
really lazy.
That's
totally
how I
agree.
Felt.
But
like
every time I saw one, I still gave it like, "Yay!"
It's like activating heads-up display.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
She shoots the guy, right? She gets, but does she get knocked into the portal or blown into? I don't remember how she gets.
He like punches her.
He comes back.
No.
That's right. He does a force push.
Airbends her into the portal. Instead of just like they could have just had him push her. Like I don't. Yeah.
His arc, like the other reason I thought like maybe he really did lose his memory is because if like his whole goal is to just turn the portal back on, why did he fuck around with like pretending to have lost his memory and following them around?
Maybe because he had to get the power generator back on.
Yeah, I think he had to get the power generator back on.
And maybe he couldn't do that himself.
Yeah, he needed the scientist guy to do that. Because I also thought that. I'm like, fucker, you've been on that place for days or whatever, having the run of the joint. Turn the thing back on. But I think that was the contrived reason that he didn't do it because he needed the guy
who knew how to do it. You need the technology that we just created as humans to activate the old demon technology. Because that's important. That's important.
Make any sense though? Like, why
red
would the
key card technology is only thing that turns on the demon portal. They show it really close in the very beginning, and he says it, and then of course we'll get to the
why would the demons
knock
out the power? Why would the demons knock out the power on the base if they need the power for their teleporter?
I never understood. Did they ever explain how the power got knocked out in the first place? Like
something happened, Aaron.
Yeah.
And oh my God, how long should it take for the power to be at 2%? 72 hours. How long has it been? 1 hour. Let's not mention this again until halfway through the movie.
Well, they pointed out how stupid it was in the movie, so you can't say that. You can't say that it's a plot hole because they said how stupid it was. Somebody literally said, "Who designed this place?" Like,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. When you wink at the audience and like put a lampshade on it, it's okay. It's not bad writing when you do that.
So she gets into hell, and there's like a kind of interesting thing where she's like in water and swims up, and like accidentally interesting to watch.
Apparently those were reshoots. I think I read something about that like the originally
on this movie.
Yeah, originally the part where she goes through the portal, I guess, was different and like a lot shittier. And Universal finally like sprung for a little bit of money so they could like CG like a hell dimension in there.
Well, that makes sense
because it looks kind of it looks okay. I mean, kind of crappy, but like still, but okay.
It just doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. It makes sense now that it's a reshoot because like, she goes there and like there's imps and all this shit. And there's like some big rocky flame imp guy. He kind of has the same shaped head as an imp. And he's like, we finally have the way back to what is rightfully ours. It was taken from us and blah,
it's
blah,
like
blah, 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 blah.
Why? Like, none of that makes any sense. Why would they? How did they lose Earth in the first place? Why do they care about Earth? What?
Andy, they'll answer all these questions in the sequel.
Intrigue, sprinkles of things to come.
So also, he's like speaking Sumerian, and she would have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
And so some stuff happens, and she shoots some imps. And then she drops the red key card and it touches some rocks and it goes and opens a portal for some reason. Since I guess the whole planet she's on now is made of the portal material, and the key cards actually, you know what it is? It's RFID technology. That's what activates portals to hell.
Must be.
It also opens the door to my work, so I can see why there might be a comparison there.
Yeah.
So, and she has like a kind of cool slow-mo throwing grenades moment, blows up some imps. And
we forgot to mention the BFG.
Oh, you know what? I purposely didn't mention it because it was such a letdown.
It was a pretty big letdown. Every effect was a letdown.
So like everyone, if you're listening to this podcast, you fucking know what it is. We're not going to talk about that aspect of it. So they go like they have this like whole thing where they're like, oh, there's a secret fourth level. Like after mad scientist goes bad, stabs people, runs away, teehee. They're like, there's a secret fourth level. That's where he's going. So I'm thinking, ooh, secret research and development, BFG. That's where we got to have a BFG. No, on the way they're walking. Oh, good luck! Wow, so lucky. Hey guys, there's a BFG right here in the wall.
Gumdrops. What fortune? Yeah.
So they get it, and it's just fucking.
There's
lame.
a regular shatter glass is like covering the BFG. Like anyone can just break it and take it out of there.
And it kind of looks all right, but it's spray painted matte gray. Like they didn't even detail it or anything. And it clearly looks like someone took three Nerf, like one like the big long rifle Nerf gun and like three other ones and like slapped them together. Because it even like there's some scenes where she's like on the ground and you can see it moving like with the weight of a Nerf gun. Like it's clearly light and doesn't weigh.
She's just such a badass. Yeah. She's just a badass, strong lady, man.
James Cameron could have made it better special effects out of Burger King trash.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the whole point of the BFG is like it's a room clearing mega fuck you cannon, right? So she shoots the damn thing and it's just like pew, and it like shoots it does the same effect as the fireball did where no damage is done and he just like does like a kung fu flip like a putty from fucking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
There's like a little spark.
And then later on the reshoots she shoots it a couple of times and it like sometimes does one damage and like sometimes it does an AoE, but But I didn't bring it up
Well,
because it's such a
because
letdown.
of the 40 invisible tracers that are emanating.
Yes, she
from her
shoots
in
it
the
and then
direction that
aims
she's
it at the
facing.
rest of them.
God, just like all the fire, like all the weaponry and fire, like I was so annoyed with the imps because bullets don't work on them until they do. Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Some people's bullets work, other people's don't for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that as well. I mean, I'm sure we all.
Yeah.
It's fucking completely obvious that it's like they're plot bullets, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she does a slow-mo. She has like plasma grenades, which I don't know, and like throws them at some imps. And she goes through the portal. She comes out and she's on Earth.
Mhm.
And they're like, she's like, oh, who are you? Like, oh no, there's imps. You have to do something. Like, and they're like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh, she's crazy. Soldiers, grab her. And then like you hear like the portal turn on and it cuts to black. You hear imp noises and it's like, cue the butt rock. And it's like, Joan Dark will be back in Doom. Fuck, we made another one on accident.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's fuck that movie. It was so stupid. I'd rather watch the other one again. And I hate that
I'll
movie.
tell you what, dude, this movie made Doom 2005 look like a masterpiece.
Fucking yeah, exactly.
It really did,
dude. It did.
Really?
I mean,
I'm surprised.
now, yeah, Mike, let's throw it to you, man.
Yeah.
You said that this was on par, at least, with Doom 2005. Explain yourself, sir.
So, well, I don't know. I mean, hearing you guys shit on it for the past hour, it's like, you're like bringing up a lot of things. And I'm like, how did I not notice that? I don't know. Like, so this movie is, I would say this movie was like on par with a well-made Hallmark movie, except instead of being about Christmas, it was about demons, but like
same budget.
I've been watching, I've been trapped in my house for the past year. I've watched a lot of shitty straight to TV movies. So like, I don't know, I guess maybe that didn't bother me quite as much or something. Like I felt like they were at least trying with this movie.
So maybe it's the fact that like it's a bad movie, but but like Doom 2000 whatever was trying real hard to be a fucking Doom movie. Yeah. Like I'm gonna be
it's a real movie.
Where it is a real movie, but it's like I'm a motherfucking Doom movie, motherfuckers.
Yeah, right. He just did not win at all. Like maybe when it came out, if I had seen it then in 2005, it maybe would have been different. But just like watching it now is just like it was just like all of the worst parts of movies, of like action movies from that era that I just really fucking hate in one movie. It's just like weirdly hyper misogynistic and not even like interestingly gory. Just
that's what got me.
It was just too like
well, I'll say this:
painlessly masculine and like,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
Aggrieved masculinity movie. No movie had more aggrieved masculinity until The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah,
and to give you some comparison, I loved Jason X when it came out and saw it in the theater, and I fucking hated Doom when it came out. I think it like. If it had just was comfortable with what it was trying to be and like it just had The Rock being the Doom guy fucking people up and like got really hammered in on some awesome gore, it would have been a way better movie.
Well, that's the thing is like Doom 2005 misses the mark in so many ways, but it's a real ass movie. And, you've got The Rock, you've got Rosamund Pike. You've got what's his name? Judge Dredd. Yeah, Carl Urban. And then like, I mean, they're like the big three, but then like all the supporting cast are like really good too. And they're like people that have done a lot of movies and TV and stuff.
Yeah.
Doom Annihilation knows it stays in its fucking lane, right? Like, like that's the problem and why it's worse than Doom. It's not a movie. It knows it's not a movie.
Yeah.
Doom is a movie. The thing is, if you want what these movies were either end up almost being, but not quite. If you want like what they were aiming for, at least let's not Doom 2005, but Doom Annihilation. If you want a version of that that's not Aliens, but that is good, but it's still a bad movie, but entertaining, just go watch Deep Rising. Fucking Deep Rising does everything that this movie tried to do, but better. It's not aliens or demons. It's sea monsters, but it's the same. It's like, it's fucking Kmart Aliens, and it's good, and it's fucking awesome, and everyone should watch it because it's fucking amazing.
It's funny. The more that we talk about this, like I'm like, everything that this movie tried to do, Doom 2005 did do better. It had better actions, had better action, better actors, better suits for the monsters,
better BFG.
It even had like the scenes where they're trying to build the characters a little bit, like the scene in this movie in Doom Annihilation where they're on the spaceship and they're all ribbing each other and shit. Like it's done way better in Doom 2005. You get a better feel for who those soldiers are than in this movie. It's just like
absolutely.
But the one thing that I will appreciate about this movie is that it didn't fuck around with any of that like virus bullshit. Like it's fucking hell. It's hell. It's a door to hell. They opened the door to hell. Shit's going crazy.
And they're like, we got to fuck with it for no reason other than we don't know if people will like it. So we're gonna make it different. Oh fuck, no, they hated it.
And I agree with Sam about it staying in its lane. Like this movie knows it's a direct to Redbox, direct to Netflix movie. It's purely there to trick credulous people into renting it. Like that is the only purpose of this movie. But like one thing I was wondering about, why are there like 20 fucking characters in this movie? There's
I know
so many Marines. And 2005 got that right. There's like 7 or 8. And you know, you can understand like who everyone is and what the dynamic of this group is. But in this movie, they just run together. I was like, if this is like a super low budget movie, have like 5 Marines and have it be like, this is like the super crack team, right?
Yeah.
And they're being punished because one of them fucked up, but like the whole, like, this is the ultimate crack team. And that's why they're going here to Mars. We don't need like 20 guys who are all apparently grossly incompetent at their job.
It's because the director watched these other movies and saw that they had this and that and this. So he felt, I got to put it in my movie because that's what you have in these. But he didn't know what to do with it's like he knows what goes into a lasagna, but it's just all sitting on his table. And he's like, why isn't this a fucking lasagna? You know, like, and he's pissed.
I would be too, honestly, if I just had like eggs and ricotta cheese and a bunch of dry lasagna noodles. And I was like, why aren't you a lasagna?
And see, and now Deep Rising takes the lasagna ingredients, puts it into a crock pot, gets super high and goes, hey man, it's still good. And fucking eats it. It's kind of it's a slight parody on that trope. All the like the soldier guys.
Coming up next time on this show, Cooking with Sam Ingersoll. Well, he'll give you his recipe for crock pot lasagna.
I hear Sam chomping at the bit for us to review Deep Rising. That's what I'm hearing.
It's my most watched movie. I've seen it like 8 times.
Wow.
It's Stephen Somm. It's the guy who did The Mummy. It's that director.
Okay, you made me watch that one time, and I it was fun, very stupid, but fun.
Yeah, so you know, it's a B movie, but it's like the fucking Oscars of shitty bad movies.
Are they mermen? Are mermen attacking?
No,
them?
it's giant tentacle monsters that suck that they eat you alive and suck out your liquids and then throw up your skeleton. It's violent and gory. It's got Treat Williams with the catchphrase. It's got the guy from The Mummy who's got like the little guy with all like the religious symbols who works for The Mummy. He's in it.
Benny? Okay.
Yeah, Benny's in it. And fucking what's her name? The chick, that Russian chick who's really hot, who was in
gotta be more specific than that.
Mila Jovovich?
No. Like her Kmart version.
Melania Trump? No.
Let me look. You guys will know. Let me look it up real quick.
She's probably an extra in this movie.
But it's got that same adventure-y feel like The Mummy has, but it's like this like horror comedy on a big cruise ship with a sea monster that's like inside of it. Like a woman gets sucked through a toilet. And like blood goes everywhere. Oh, it's so great. Famke Jensen.
Oh, sure.
Oh, Jean Grey?
Yeah. Dude, it's got Wes Studi is in it too. He's the bad guy. It's got a great B movie cast. It's full of people. You go, I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah, and that's the way Doom 2005 was for me. There's just a bunch of people that are like, oh, okay, this is somebody. You know, it's like they're not particularly great, but hey, they're there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should probably wrap this one up. But this is more time than I ever would have wanted to discuss this movie.
How dare you? This was a blast, and you know it was.
So Doom Annihilation. Would any of you recommend this film?
No.
Can't say that I can't say that I do. No.
I recommend Netflix remove it from their platform.
I watched this in the middle of the day, and I really wish it had been late at night so I could drink and just drink and drink and drink to enjoy a little.
What a great! This is the perfect reason to drink in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Oh God, what have I done?
Yep.
I should have.
Mike, come on, Mike. What say you?
So, I don't know. I'm a fan of like watching. There's like good, bad. There's bad, and then there's like this sort of bad. Just like it's like they were earnestly trying to make a good movie, and I think there is some value in watching movies like that, because it makes you appreciate good movies so much more, when you watch someone who isn't good at making movies try.
Not necessarily entertaining, but like,
right.
Like neither is a lecture in college,
Right. Exactly. It just sort of like helps reset your internal barometer for like expectations for films,
That's true. You got every now and then you gotta watch a bad movie just to appreciate the good ones. This is why though I know some people who like they don't watch good movies. They only watch bad movies because like, oh, it's so funny how bad it is. They're like, do you want to watch The Killer Condom or whatever? And I'm like, well, have you seen Goodfellas? No. Have you seen A Clockwork Orange? No. Have you seen There Will Be Blood? No. Then why are you watching The Killer Condom?
Okay. No, man. Listen, if you're in the mood to watch The Killer Condom, you're not going to want to switch gears and watch There Will Be Blood. Get the fuck out of here.
What I'm saying is,
asshole.
No,
that's all they watch. That's
all they watch. Yeah. They've never seen a real movie.
This is a sci-fi, made-for-TV sci-fi movie, but without the fucking tongue-in-cheek camp they had later on. Like it's without like the Sharknado versus Mechanopus, it's like without the self-awareness. That's what this is like, that like year before things got out of control. Like, that's kind of what I could see this being on tonight on Sci-Fi, Doom Annihilation.
Yeah.
And before we finish, I want to say I also rolled my eyes really hard when they called it's the Doomed Moon.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie. I'm done talking about it.
Yes, sir. There it is. We're done. We're putting a bow on that one. Yep. So I would also not recommend it. Do you guys want to do any salutes to any of the cast or crew of this movie?
I do not.
The doctor guy, he was fun.
Dominic Matham.
Yeah. The bad guy, he was a good time.
Yeah, we'll do a salute to him.
You did your best, sir. You did your best.
Yeah, he did his best.
He showed up every day.
Yeah.
Knowing that he was working on a piece of shit.
Didn't talk to anyone. Said, please don't talk to me. I'm just here to work.
No, I bet he's delightful. I bet he was super generous to everyone. Yeah.
He knew all the grips names. He made sure that the extras got to, if there were extras, I don't think there even were extras in this movie, got to eat before he did. He's
totally. Yeah. He's probably delightful and he's working. I mean, he is
making that money.
Eating. Yeah. Okay, well, so that's going to do it. Goodbye, Doom Annihilation. May we never meet again.
And that's it. Annihilate my memories of this movie tonight. So, yeah.
Mike will be drinking heavily this evening.
I have been. So,
hey, you know what? It's quarantine. You can do whatever you want, buddy.
That's quarantine, baby. Yeah, I'm not gonna drive anywhere.
So, and that's pretty much going to do it for Doom. We've covered the game, both movies, and so we're changing gears now. We're shifting a little bit, and next week on the program we'll have a brand new game, and you guys can look forward to the first episode of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, man.
Aaron just dramatically turned his baseball cap around to reveal that he's got a Dracula baseball cap on this whole time.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Vlad Tepes Dracula.
I'm very excited. I really, really like this game. I don't beat games often. I've beat this game 2 or 3 times, so I clearly like it.
Same. Yep. I've been replaying it in preparation, having a great time. It's going to be a blast. I'm really looking forward to it.
And it will be my first time, so I'm really pumped about that.
Yep.
And I think that'll do it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please go to onestageatatime.com for all of our things. Thank you, Andy and Sam and Mike, for suffering through this movie with me. It was a lot of fun to talk about. We'll see you all next week. Mike, why don't you give us that sign off?
Remember to do the thing with the save and continue.